talking about Creative Commons in the context of higher education, because one of the principles of higher education is that free exchange of knowledge is fundamental to the common good, and Creative Commons facilitates openness and sharing, which seems to be the theme of the day, right? Openness and sharing. So every year the New Medium Consortium and Educause Learning Initiative get together faculty and technology experts from 22 countries, and they look for trends in education. And they issue this Horizon report. And this comes out in January. So this came out last month. And one of the trends that they identified is the open content movement. So the open content movement is the idea of sharing information freely, taking advantage of the internet, and responding to the cost of textbooks that Cable talked about this morning. And the open content movement has a concept of education as learning rather than acquiring information. And this fits in with our information competency, Gen Ed competency that we have adopted at Peninsula College. The information competency is finding, evaluating, interpreting, and repurposing resources. So, okay, so choose an animal and write down the animal name. And the name of a small container. Yeah. A small container, anything that holds something. Holds liquid, solid, it could be anything. And then something that's round. Does everybody have an animal, a small container, and something that's round? Okay, here's the exercise. A 1-minute art exercise. Draw a picture in 1 minute. It can be abstract, impressionistic, surrealistic, or stick figures. Start your picture with a giant, whatever animal you chose, balancing whatever container you chose on its head, juggling 3 whatever round things you chose. So, be creative. You have 1 minute. Nobody will see this. Now, my question is this artistic production copyrighted? Yes. Does it need to have this symbol on it to be copyrighted? No. No. This magnificent production has all rights reserved automatically by law, because the copyright law is, and has been since 1978, that it's automatic, all rights are reserved, not only right now, but for the rest of your life and 70 years beyond that. This. Okay, so the copyright law says that anything that's original works of authorship fixed in any tangible medium of expression is all rights reserved unless you choose to relicense your work, and that's where Creative Commons comes in. So copyright, unless you give somebody express permission to use this, they can't legally use it. Copyright inhibits sharing. And the copyright expires on December 31st of a year. So if you were to die on June 1st, 2015, your artwork would be protected until December 31st of 70 years after your death. And then it would pass into public domain. Usually people sign their names to, yeah, yeah. Otherwise, you probably would have a hard time. That's what I mean. Yeah. So public domain is no restrictions, no legal copyright, and everything that's been published before 1923 is public domain. So recently, when Google started digitizing books and the publishers took them to court, Google said, well, we weren't really going to let people read the whole text. We were just going to let them read snippets. But they went to court. But Google didn't stop digitizing. Google just continued digitizing books prior to 1923, and so until they came up with their court decision. So there are 4 ways that something can enter domain. There can be an expiration of copyright, a failure to renew copyright, dedication, which means somebody deliberately places it in public domain, or there's no copyright protection available. So everything before 1923 is expired. There's a period between 1923 and 1964 because of the way the copyright law was changed in 1964 that things were going into the public domain unless the copyright was renewed. So some things were renewed in that period between 23 and 64, and some things are in public domain. If you come across a phrase, "this work is dedicated to the public domain," then you can use it. But it's rare that you'll come across that phrase because most authors don't dedicate their works to the public domain. And only the copyright owner can make a dedication like that. So things that are not protected by copyright, titles of books, titles of movies, short phrases, like "make my day," you can't copyright that. Facts, ideas, theories. U.S. government works, anything that's produced by a government employee in the course of their duties is not copyrighted. Legal cases, federal law, state, local, court decisions. Okay, so if it's copyrighted, you need to get permission. So the stuff that's between 23 and 64 that you're not sure whether it is or isn't copyrighted, Stanford has a database called the Copyright Renewal Database, and you can search that to find out if the copyright is still in effect or not. Another way you can get permission is to pay for it. Copyright.com, the Copyright Clearance Center, allows you to pay per use or a license, an annual license. It's pretty pricey. Some professors have wanted to put things on reserve for students, articles, and it's a kind of pricey thing. Another way you can do it is to contact the copyright owner directly. And I tried doing that because I used a presentation, an article called 7 Things You Should Know About Creative Commons. And so I wrote off to ask for permission to use the article about a month ago, and I still haven't gotten a reply. So sometimes yes, sometimes no. So we've got copyrighted and public domain, and all rights or no rights, too heavy or too light. Have you seen the beer commercials for too heavy, too light? Well, you're going to see one now.
We can still be really good friends. We'll just be together a lot less, like almost never.
Are you breaking up with me?
What? No! Break up! Silly.
Are you breaking up with me?
Not too heavy, not too light. Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
I'll Facebook you!
Okay, so into this between too heavy and too light comes copyleft, just right. Some rights reserved. And one of the, copyleft is like the symbol is an identical, the reverse of the copyright symbol, and it's to remove automatic restriction of copyright so the author can surrender some but not all of their rights. And that's what Creative Commons makes it easy to do.